Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Chisa, the DOT Queen. And listen, if you're building her the wrong way, you are losing out on a massive amount of damage for your whole team. She is not just a healer, she is not just a sub DPS, and she's definitely not a simple character where you slap a havoc damage and call it a day. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through everything from how her kit actually functions, her weapons, her echo sets, and her best stats. And of course, her strongest tip. So without further ado, please hit that like button and let's jump right in. Hey, do you want to top up on Wuthering waves for affordable price? Introducing lootbar.gg. It's time to top up everybody, but not at full price. That's where lootbar self top up comes in clutch. You can save up to 21% off. And look at this, the price is much more affordable. Damn! And also less pain for your wallet. I've used it multiple times on my own account and it's smooth as butter. Okay, so just pick the bundle you want, hit top up now, and choose your payment method. And boom, done! Then click self top up and log in into your Wuthering Waves account. Head to the shop, click on the bundle you picked earlier, and boom! It's right there almost instantly. So what are you waiting for? Check the link in the description below and in the pinned comments to save with lootbar. First up, who is Chisa actually? Chisa is a 5-star Havoc Broadblade Resonator who plays a very unique hybrid role. You can think of her as a mixed sub DPS, sustain unit, and support, all at the same time. But what makes Chisa special is that she is the centerpiece of almost every negative status team. She increases how many negative stacks enemies can hold. She shred the enemy defense, she help your team heal, and she bring her own solid havoc damage, especially when she enters her signature chainsaw mode, which is the highlight of her gameplay. When you first try her, she may look confusing because she has so many combo paths, so many buttons you can press, and so many lethal mechanics like Unseen Snare, Havoc Bane, Ring of Chainsaw, and so on. But trust me, once you understand her flow, she is incredibly satisfying and super strong. Chisa's kit is massive, so I'll explain the important parts in simple terms. Her normal attack tree includes the following: basic attacks, rendering launch, death snip, and tread withdraw. The most important one is death snip, which deals damage, heals the team, and it counts as liberation damage, so it benefits from her liberation bonuses. Her resonance skill has two versions: Eye of Unraveling and Serrated Loop. The second one, Serrated Loop, is the one that sends her into a chainsaw mode. You want to use this mode when your chainsaw gauge is full, so don't waste value. Next, her Resonance Liberation. This is her big explosion that deals huge havoc damage and heals the team again, and triggers her special mode, which is Woven Myriad Convergence. This boosts her chainsaw damage further and letting her hit extremely hard. Her 40 circuit is what ties her whole kit together. You get Unseen Snare from a certain skill, and as long as the enemy have Unseen Snare, you can apply Havoc Bane and ignore 18% of their defense. And finally, her Outro skill is what makes her so valuable. It increases the max stack of negative status by 3 and gives your entire team an immediate power boost. Now let's go and talk about how Chisa plays. Chisa's gameplay revolves around the 3 important concepts. Number 1, Unseen Snare, second, Havoc Bane, and third, Chainsaw Mode. These 3 parts interact with each other and power up her whole kit. Well, first, she applies Unseen Snare to enemies using certain action, like using her Resonance skill, using dodge counter, or hitting enemies shortly after using her chainsaw related skill. When an enemy has Unseen Snare, any damage they will take will generate a stack of Havoc Bane. But this only happens once every 2 seconds. Havoc Bane is important because Chisa's kit, her echo, her weapon, and her combos all interact with it. The more Havoc Bane stack you build, the more you can trigger extra effect and increase the team's damage. But the biggest part of her playstyle is her chainsaw mode. When she uses her special version of her resonance skill, Serrated Loop, she can enter chainsaw mode. Once she's inside this mode, she gains the whole different set of attack animation. These attacks hit extremely hard. They scale with resonance liberation damage, and they help her shred enemies while building more Havoc Bane. And take note that Chisa's kit also has a built-in 18% defense ignore thanks to her 40 circuit passive. This applies as long as the enemy has unseen snare, and this makes her damage way more consistent even if you build her more like a healer or support. Last but not the least, her auto skill is the main reason she is considered broken. It increases the maximum stack of negative status and electro rage enemies can hold by 3. That may not sound huge at first, but it's extremely good. Now let's talk about weapons. Chisa is a hybrid unit. She heals, she buffs, and she deals damage. But all of this skill with her offensive stats. So her best weapons are the one that increases her crit, attack, and especially liberation damage. The absolute best in slot for her is Kumo Kiri, her signature weapon. It has 500 base attack and 36% crit rate. A passive that increases attack and adds a massive bonus to liberation damage. So whenever Chisa uses her intro skill or applies negative status, she gets increasing liberation damage. And at full stack, the whole team gets a huge all attribute damage buff whenever they apply negative status. This works perfectly with Chisa because literally everything in her kit applies negative status or interacts with it. If you don't have it, the second option is Wildfire Mark. This weapon gives crit damage and attack, but more importantly, it gives liberation damage, since a huge portion of Chisa's power comes from the chainsaw mode, which count as liberation attack. This weapon feels very natural on her. Another great alternative is Lustrous Razor. This one gives energy regen and allowing Chisa to use her liberation more often. It also gives bonus liberation damage after using her skill, which she does frequently anyway. It's not as powerful as the first two, but it helps smooth out her rotation. Now let's go and talk about her best echo sets. Her normal build will be 3-piece Thread of Severed Fate and 2-piece Havoc set. The new set gives Havoc damage and boost attack whenever she inflicts Havoc Bane. Then it gives a very large liberation damage bonus which directly powers her chainsaw mode attacks. For the main echo, you ideally want Trinodian Leviathan. This echo summons a huge Havoc explosion and gives both Havoc damage and liberation damage as bonuses. It also interacts with Havoc Bane, doubling the damage of the explosion on enemies with Havoc Bane stacks. This combo with Chisa is extremely strong. For 4 cost, crit rate crit damage, 3 cost Havoc damage, attack percentage, 1 cost attack percentage. For substat, crit rate crit damage is greater than attack percentage, greater than resonance liberation damage. This is where Chisa shines. She fits naturally into almost every negative status team, but she has 2 outstanding teams that makes full use of her auto skill. First up, Cartitia's Arrow Erosion team, Cartitia, Shikona, and Chisa. This is where Chisa's absolute best team. Cartitia relies heavily on Arrow Erosion stacking, and before certain Resonant Chain, she has a cap on how many stacks she can build. But with Chisa in the team, that cap gets lifted. Suddenly, Cartitia's damage skyrockets, and Shikona's fuel even more negative status and buff uptime. Next up, Zani Spectro Frazzle team, Zani, Phoebe, Chisa. This team is very similar to Cartitia's team but uses Spectro Frazzle mechanics. Chisa gives everything Zani wants, more debuff capacity, different shred, and healing so Zani can stay aggressive. Phoebe supplies Frazzle and the cycle becomes extremely smooth. For free-to-play player, Spectro Rover, Chisa, and Verena. If you don't have any 5-star dot team, this team is one of the strongest F2P team in the whole game. Rover or Spectro Rover can inflict negative status which is Spectro Frazzle, and Chisa boosts that and adds healing and defense reduction. And Verena gives more healing and attack buff. It's simple but surprisingly strong. So if you want Chisa as main DPS, you can try Chisa, Dungeon, Verena. This team is more fun. Chisa can technically be played as main DPS because her chainsaw mode hits so hard. Dungeon provides Havoc damage bonuses, while Verena keeps everyone alive and her attack buff. Take note that this is not optimal team, but it's very enjoyable if you want to have fun. And yes, that's it folks. Chisa is one of the strongest, most flexible support unit released so far for DOT teams. She fits into multiple top tier teams which is Cartitia and Zani. It amplifies debuff mechanics or negative effects, brings reliable healing, and still deal great personal damage through her chainsaw mode. So if you build her as a hybrid DPS support with crit, Havoc damage, and liberation damage, she becomes a monster. If you build her like a healer, you lose a huge chunk of her potential. So please, don't build Chisa wrong. If you enjoyed this guide and want more deep dive video like this, I'm super hype about 3.0 because they reworked the negative statuses, so that means they're going to release more DOT teams, potentially. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching and see you guys on the next one. Peace out, boys.